Really, that's going.
This is the Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen emergency meeting, 4 o'clock, September 22nd, 2017. This is regarding our Silvers Mills Road project. Present is the entire board and the town manager, and one member of the road committee, Irvin McNaughton. Do we want to do pledge of allegiance?
It's up to you.
I'm good.
Yes, no?
Let's do it.
Okay. I didn't know what direction he was going in.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I don't know, Irving, if you know this, but we found out a few hours ago that we can adjust the amount of paving that we do, and Pike is fine with that. They're not gonna hold the town to any contract amount, so.
Oh, they are.
Right.
As long as we do French's Mills, they won't charge us any extra anything.
So we're free to decide to pave or not to pave without worrying about the impact of the paving.
So basically, come up to speed, we now, there's no way to get the 800 feet gravel. It's not gonna be ready for next week.
I did reach out, when you heard from Pike, and Pike moved it out to Wednesday instead of Monday.
Right.
I thought that might have bought us enough time to at least explore the possibility of getting that to where we would need it. So I called him. And I don't know if you knew this, but he had previously said to Lois that he would bring in a vibratory roller if that's what we wanted.
But
He
just-
didn't believe it was gonna accomplish anything, but he said he would do it.
Just the top, he wouldn't.
Travis.
Yeah.
Travis said that he would do that.
Okay.
So between that and the extension of it to Wednesday, I thought it was worth reaching out to him.
Sure.
And we also had an issue with the way the gravel is terminated. When we met with Pike, Pike said to us, you can't pave over a thin layer of gravel. All that has to be moved back. And we just kicked it with our boots, and we quickly got into 3 inches or more of gravel. So it was adding up pretty fast. I mentioned that to Travis. He agreed that that wasn't the appropriate way to do that. That you break the gravel beyond your area. So it's a couple of feet past, that's fine, you can pave that.
Correct.
Okay? So I said to him, I haven't been over there with a shovel, I don't know how far back we have to go. I said, but even if it were compacted perfectly, I couldn't pave until we remedy the 2 ends.
Right.
He agreed. So I mentioned that he had offered the vibratory roller. He said, yes, I did offer that, but he said, I regret having offered it. I no longer am willing to do that. I said, okay. I said, what about the ends? I said, if it were compacted perfectly, we still couldn't pave. And he agreed. And he said, if you want me to come over on Monday, I will break up. But I said, it looks to me like I might have a yard or 2 yards of gravel that need to be removed. He said, you got a lot more than that. I said, okay. And he said, I'll come over on Monday. I will break up 8 to 10 feet on each end. So that gives us a feel for how, we were gonna go back to there was a lot of gravel that was gonna have to come out of there. So he's agreed to do that, break that up, so the ends, I guess, terminate properly, all right? We didn't discuss as to why it was that way or wasn't done that way, but he's agreed that it should be that way, and he's agreed to do it.
What about the hot top that is underneath that gravel that is not broken up? Is that what?
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
he's gonna
So he's
move
gonna
that
push the
gravel.
He's gonna
gravel
push the
back.
gravel back, break,
Break it, and
spread the
then-
gravel back out.
Then remove the hot top, so we got a nice table.
Well, we can actually leave you can drive on broken hot top for the
Correct.
winter, or the week, whatever it was, and then pave on it in the spring.
Correct.
But you can't have gravel on top of.
Correct.
Okay? And he seemed to agree with all that,
Correct.
okay? So my original approach to all this was if he would scramble, and I said to him, gee, it seems, I'm not an expert, but it seems to be that this project, in the middle, you have 12 to 15 inches, and then it rapidly decreases to the point where maybe you only have 6 inches or more on each end.
Right.
So it seemed to me that it might be possible to go in, because we're gonna be moving some dirt now, he's already agreed that you've got yards on each end.
Right.
Maybe you could come in, move a few inches in the middle, do the vibratory roller over everything, then replace vibratory roller again, and we might be able to get this paved. He wasn't willing to do that.
Oh, wow.
So I told him that in all likelihood, we were not gonna pave it. I don't know for sure, but I said, I don't think we are going to. I said, I think we're gonna leave it for the winter, and he said, that's what I would do. He said, I think you can pave it, I believe you can pave it anyway, but he said, you might as well leave it till winter. So that's where we stand with the contractor. On the way over here, at first I'm thinking, we're just not gonna call him, we're not gonna bother. But we probably ought to bother with letting him finish the 2 ends.
Well, my only concern though, if he starts on Monday, Pike starts paving on Wednesday, is Pike gonna try to go through there delivering paving? I don't want the road closed.
No, he's gotta be done on Monday if he's gonna do it for us on Monday. Or he comes back after the paving's done and finishes the 2 ends.
Right, but still, we've got the issue of it not having been vibratory.
Absolutely.
Right, but it's not gonna be able
It's
to
not
be
gonna
paved.
paved anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're not gonna pave it.
I think we need to have Herrick's at least do, so we're ready to pay for next year. If they're not willing to get this all
At
compacted
a
properly,
very minimum,
minimum,
Right, right.
correct.
Herrick says he will do it for us in the spring. We can leave it the way it is all winter. But those ends need to be addressed.
Yeah,
I would rather have them addressed before
Yeah.
it's paid for.
yeah, I agree,
Personally.
I agree.
Because I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we're
yeah.
already not, we're not doing as it was bidded, as it was discussed.
No.
I would at least like to get as much of that done before we write a check.
Right.
And then figure out what we're gonna do about the remainder.
So,
So I was talking to Irving and I said, I would like to work with the committee, the road committee, through the winter to have an invitation to bid it ready in the spring.
Sure.
And that way they can help me.
Okay. So the next question is, if we don't pave that, we know we're gonna do French's Mills. So what does that mean we are gonna do on Silver's Mills? Cause how much is that, we had how many tons between the binder and the hot top? That's pretty junk money that we
He didn't itemize per road.
Okay,
He only itemized per different ton.
okay. Well, my next thought is, we know we're gonna have money available. So, could we either use that money, cause we know next year we wanna get that paid, plus we wanna pay more on Silver's Mills to try to get that road done. So could we, if we're not gonna pave there this year, could we use that money either to get some more ditching done on Silver's Mills from French's Mills down? Or could we look at culverts? Or is there any parts of that road that we could just shim this year and pave next year?
We can, before the rock, or after the rock, towards French's Mills, there's still a rock in the middle of the road.
Yep.
That didn't come out.
I asked him about that, he didn't recall.
Didn't recall.
But I told him,
to take the rock out.
yeah.
He took
There were
the
2
other one.
rocks. I said, we have 2 spots. There's a rock and the spot.
They were both marked, they're still marked.
But you don't really know, I mean, it's not anything we're gonna address between now and Wednesday, because
No,
you
no.
don't know how
No.
big that rock is.
But to
Right,
me, that
yeah.
little
Right,
section.
but we could leave up to the rock unpaved and then pave from that other side of the rock, from the new side of the rock, down towards 23. And the road committee went out and from French's Mills towards 23, he says there's a good 1,500 feet that can safely be paved if you wanna pave some of
Do
it.
you mean pave or shim and pave?
Pave
or
or
just
shim
shim?
and pave? Shim?
It depends upon who you talk to.
How about if I talk to you?
Because I'm the only one that's here.
That's right, that's
the
right,
only reason.
that's right.
Now, before we started, you said that Pike was agreeable not to pay.
We don't have to, as long as we do the French's Mills Road, which we are going to do, Pike is fine with whatever we use.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we got the small thing of 150 loads of gravel is gonna be hauled over it.
Travis
Silver's Mill Road.
is hauling next week through Silver's Mills on whatever, what's project is a state project he's working on?
It's a state project, but it's the old tracks. that goes from Newport to.
Oh, he's working on the ITS trail?
Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
yeah.
Cool, good.
So how much they're gonna haul, I don't know, and how from, they can do part of it from Integral, part from the, with no road, I don't know if they're gonna go both ways, I don't know anything about it. But it'd be too bad to shim and have the truck go over it. It would break it all up, I think. But,
Well, do you think if, in other words, that's too soon after paving? Is that your thought?
too soon.
Okay. I wouldn't know that. but-
If they pave, if they shim and then pave, they'll make it a lot worse. We'll have to take it in and get been paved. So if you go out and do the ditches and culverts, that would be good on the Silver Mill Road. Now, we had some thought, we had, from the notes, from the outlet of Center Pond going toward 223, that was starting to crack open. The part of the bottom quarter mile, if that, probably eighth of a mile. This center line is all cracked and so forth. And the new tree that the road hasn't been the second coat of pavement hasn't been put on, the overlay.
Like the finish.
That's on French's Mills.
Correct.
There was another section on French's Mills that they had only done like a base coat, but not
That's all we've ever done.
surfacing.
We've never surfaced.
So that was a,
There's not a road in Sangerville that we've ever paved
The
that they
surface
surfaced.
coat, which is what the finer aggregate.
Right. I, and it seals it.
Yeah.
And
Also, that last half inch buys you a lot more
Right.
performance.
Right.
Right, but I mean, that's.
Yeah, that's part of the
every
reason
road.
they're probably breaking up so
Sure.
fast as well.
I mean, Silver's Mills, from my house to it's 23, that hot top's not 10 years, it's just, that was done the year I bought my house, so that's what, 11 years ago,
Yeah.
is all that is, and it's
not bad.
not bad, but it's, doesn't look very good for 11-year-old hot top, you know?
So I'm not sure if we have an area that we wanna shim. If we're concerned that we shim and that truck traffic would damage
Yeah,
it.
that doesn't
then-
make any sense.
Right, but the other side is, we only know about this truck traffic
Right.
because we got this inside story.
How
What if
we-
we paved that?
We would, you would.
You'd never know. I mean, and we have no control over any of that.
Right,
No.
so, I mean, I'm not sure exactly
Yeah.
how to.
I would be curious about Pike's input on that.
on the truck traffic.
Yeah, if we shim that, what's
Because dump truck is bad, but it's not as bad as like a logging truck, I don't believe.
What about like a paving truck with asphalt in it?
right?
I mean, that's gotta be heavy.
Yeah,
Travis isn't, Travis would be, he's,
he's driving a dump
Dump
truck.
trucks,
Oh,
or
dump
it'd be,
trucks. Oh,
or low beds, I
oh,
mean, he's
yeah,
probably
yeah.
gonna be hauling, he's gonna haul the
Equipment.
excavators and the bulldozers and.
right?
But what, a logging truck's like 80,000 pounds loaded, isn't it?
Really?
Well, legally they're supposed to only be like 80, but usually they're 120.
So I mean, that's probably the worst pounding you're gonna get.
Yeah,
And
Right.
honestly, I'm not seeing any log trucks on our.
I haven't seen any for a
Not saying
while.
that, I mean, flip the coin.
But if it happened, there wouldn't be anything we could do about it.
Do,
Right.
they could start tomorrow. I mean, we could post the road, I guess, but,
So you want to know just on shim
sure,
the effect of the truck traffic on
Yeah.
shim.
see what they say. If Pike, I would think Pike would know, because there are a lot of towns that they will shim a section of road 1 year and then come back the following year and pave it.
Is there any, do they ever shim something and then post it as far as weight loads for X period of time? No?
I don't think so.
I'm not saying you couldn't.
I mean,
No,
I don't know.
got a lot of my,
Us too. If you could shim that, it would be a great improvement for that piece of road.
It would.
I mean, just snow removal alone would be a big help.
Well, I can,
But how far would you shim?
as much
It's all dollars.
as much money as we've got.
The section, the culvert above Brockway Mills, okay, that's where we stopped paving. Originally, we started on Silver's Mills on my end, 11 years ago. We paved 1 mile in. And then, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I can't even remember now. It stopped just below my house. And then, that's when they added 6 inches of gravel down across by where Johnny Gogan's house is, and they paved from there, and then they've done that section up by the Brockway Mills, above by the culverts a couple of times, and they paved to that point, that's where it stopped. So, if we could shim, the amount of shimming to get to there that's where we gotta finish to go to paving to get the road done.
But you would still have to have culverts done.
Sure,
There are 4 or
so-
5 culverts that still
Yep.
need to be done.
But I mean, you could go out there and draw a line in the road that this is the, when they're shimming, we're
And
gonna
don't
cut this
shim
out.
that, Yeah.
Yeah, there's no sense to put shim in here, cause this is where we're gonna cut this out, and you're gonna come back and have to overlay pave that section. So I mean, basically, we'd have to figure out is how many culverts we have.
Mark them.
4 or 5.
Mark, you got 4 or 5 culverts you wanna do. What's the cost gonna be to do the culverts, what's the cost gonna be to hot top over them? Then you know what that dollar number is, subtract that off the difference. And
Then
tell
shim as
Pike,
much as you can.
sure, I got $50,000 left, shim's a lot of money.
And then next year, you go in and pave it,
Sure.
because it's ready to go.
It's ready to go.
Any shoulder work that you needed to do, or
You could
ditching
that
you
in
do next
spring.
year, right?
Yeah, you could do your shoulders, your ditch in the spring, then pave again next year.
The reason I like that is I feel like the residents on the Sylvan Mills Road got something done this year.
Sure.
That road's horrible.
Yeah.
I travel that road every time to go get hay, and I do not go over 20 miles an hour hauling a trailer from the time I left my driveway till the time I get back.
I'm not pleased to have to drive over dirt all winter, but I don't know that we really have any realistic options at this point.
I would rather drive over dirt
Then pave it,
than
and
pave it,
it.
make it pretty black and know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's not gonna last 5 to 10
That
years.
doesn't seem to be on the table, so.
No,
Can we back up for just one
Yeah.
question that I have? So are we thinking that is gonna be compacted by sitting through the winter?
That's what the thought process is.
Okay.
Freezing, thawing, traffic,
moisture.
a
Moisture.
lot of water.
Okay, so it will settle, that is sufficient to compact it as well?
It would help it an awful lot.
Okay.
No, has anyone talked to Phil Curtis about that thought process?
I asked,
It would, but
Well, no,
Alright.
I asked if anybody talked to Phil Curtis about that thought process, as to whether that would,
not us,
okay.
not,
I asked
be,
them.
I would be curious what Phil's
Yeah,
thoughts were,
it's
not that it's gonna
something.
change anything.
They don't talk to Phil.
The only thing it would change is what we do in the spring.
Sure.
Right,
But it'd be
but we
interesting to-
can get a consensus.
Right.
And an agreement.
Yep.
And that is, whatever it is,
Yep.
I
is
mean, realistically,
sufficient.
you're talking 6 months worth of traffic, rain, frost,
Snow plowing,
Snow.
mud,
I mean, it's gonna,
it's gonna be a mess.
but I
Right.
mean, it's not gonna, to me, there's not a doubt that it's 12 inches of gravel, that will be compacted by next year.
It's hard for me to believe it won't be, but it's only just a gut feeling, I don't know anything.
And the other thing too, in the spring, before you pave it, you're gonna have to get somebody out there
Oh, definitely.
with a
gonna
grader,
degrade it.
with more gravel, leveling it all up, reshaping
Yeah.
it, ready to go.
We should
Yeah,
shoot
'cause
some
Pike
grades
specifically
now and
asked
see
that.
how far it gets compacted.
It would
We
be
could do
interesting.
that.
Do it.
Actually, we could do that.
Yeah,
We could just mark off with the transit.
exactly. And just
Marking the
for our
road.
own, get a benchmark. I mean, that's me. Get a benchmark and I'll go do it.
It wouldn't be
I'll do
very
it.
hard.
No, just
It'd be an interesting thought.
to see how far. So anyway, okay, so the plan is in the spring, we would evaluate it and
Get
it's
it
gonna
up to
need more gravel,
snuff,
right,
yep.
right.
And
right.
it will probably, it will need to be reshaped for sure.
Right.
That's not a big deal. When we're grading roads, well, ideally you time it with your paving, cause already we got enough washboard out there, so he said he wouldn't pave it without
Yeah.
putting a grader on it, so you really have to put those two very close together.
Right,
So that's okay.
Now,
okay,
the last conversation, which was over the weekend, I had with Newts, they told me that they would much prefer to plow that as dirt,
okay, good,
if that meant a better road when we paved it.
Yeah, no,
Good.
Warren was
So they were
all about it.
good.
way
Great, well,
better
that's
to do it
good.
right than hurry up and make it black so it doesn't last.
Make the
Right.
problem go away.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That's-
So that part is
sounds
behind
very
us.
good.
Back to,
Sorry.
Mr. Herrick right now, though, we are in agreement that we ought to, unless he doesn't interfere with Pike on Wednesday, we should have Lois call him and say, we take you up on that offer, finish that,
We want the finished.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, it needs to be,
but you gotta be out of there by Tuesday night,
right, right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Will it even interfere with Pike though, really, because he's not, Pike isn't gonna be down there.
Well, that road
on
can't be
The
closed.
road can't be closed, cause
And
Pike's
they'd
gonna
be
haul,
coming,
He's hauling from that side?
he'd be coming, I would assume Pike would be coming out of the
Route
pit on the Route 7.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'd be coming right across
I
there.
mean, he could go through Dexter and up, but that's
I
kind
doubt it.
of a pain.
He's gonna compact the hell out of our gravel for us.
But
Yeah,
between,
there you
now
go.
you got both ends, now you got both ends blocked, I really don't want both ends. You know, you got the
Right.
French's Mills Road blocked, and you got that end blocked, it's probably not a good idea.
Correct.
Herrick needs to be, he made it sound like he would show up first thing Monday morning, break that pavement up for us. And I just feel like that's kind of just finishing the job.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And honestly, my own personal opinion, if Herrick would rather wait a week or two and do that, and Pike is out of the way, that is fine with me, but I really don't think we should,
In fact, yeah,
I don't wanna pay
as
for.
long as he understands that's when he gets paid.
Right,
That's
and
right,
the job's
yeah, yeah.
not completed, we're not gonna pay it till the
Right.
job's completed.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
That's
probably.
part of, I don't wanna,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't wanna be the
most
guy to
of it.
hold his money, so he needs to understand that as well, that, you know, we're looking to complete a process before we.
He
pay.
did not equivocate on the two ends. He kind of, but then he's, nope, you're right, I will fix that. So I feel like that's a perfectly fair proposal.
Right, yeah, yeah, that's good, that's very good,
So that, I
that
think,
makes sense.
So do you want to do the culverts before the paving, after the paving? This fall or next spring? I
If
was
we got
not
enough money, I'd do
understanding.
them this year, I would do anything we could do.
if you can spend this year's budget, all of it, I support that
Yes,
prudently.
And
without going.
at this point, Herrick is doing the culverts, correct?
Well, no, he
we
doesn't
have to
have
talk
to.
about that.
No, these are culverts that haven't been done yet, we can have anybody do them that we want. Herrick could do them.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
these are one-offs, they're less than $10,000. If Lois can
Okay.
get Herrick or Lawson or Bailey or whoever she uses, as long as they
Okay.
do it according to specs, and they own the problem, in other words, this
Yeah, I
should be
understand.
plastic, this should be granite, this should be steel, that's our approach on this.
Well, and we talked about this earlier, we already now have, we got 2 more culverts in, that Travis, well, actually, he did 3 or 4 culverts down through the cross ones, right?
He, total 5.
Okay, so he's got that section done, that's our test for Herrick Construction for culverts for this year. Now, if we've got 4 or 5 more to go, I don't know how many other contractors you have that have approached about doing culverts, but if you wanna give a couple of them to one guy, so we can see how that goes, give some to another contractor to see how that goes, because I would like to be able to get us to a point of, I mean, I don't ever see us having a contractor that we can just say, go do this and not check up on them. But I would like to have a contractor that,
Be nice.
when we do put out a bid and we do put out, have the discussion and the contract, that we would be confidently safe to think that everything was gonna be done to our spec so we could pay.
Right,
So I would really like to
Get
try
to know
a few
everybody.
more
right, right.
contractors and just see how this goes. And when we get to the end of this, we're all gonna have our opinion of how this went, what worked, what didn't work, and how do we move forward so that we're spending the best money we can to get done what we need to get done. This going back and working on the same project is not what I wanna do,
Right.
so.
We
I
do
think
have-
it will be tough to get 2 or a couple of different contractors to come in for 4 or 5 culverts.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it just,
Yeah.
put
No,
one
I-
contractor in there.
You can try, but I don't believe that for a minute. I bet if you call any one of them up and say, hey, I got 2 culverts to do on Silver's Mills, you wanna come over and do them? They'd do them.
You think so?
Sure. If you had a culvert, if you only had 1 culvert replaced, you don't think we could get a contractor to replace 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 4 or 5, you could give 2 to one guy and 2 or 3 to another.
Yeah, I don't, oh, yeah, well, whatever.
You don't have to have them done on the same day.
No, I don't know, yeah,
I mean, we just did 5 at once.
Right.
yeah,
And one of them, he agreed we don't have to pay for because it was done in a way that wasn't satisfactory.
right.
So,
Really?
good,
You mean the rip-off one?
Yeah.
That was a different one.
okay. But we
Yeah.
He
did
didn't put
say-
that one in.
Right, yeah, he didn't put that one in, but he repaired it.
Right,
And
Yes,
decided
but
we didn't have to
He
worry
he
about
did 5 and 2 repairs,
it. Okay.
and 1 repair, he said, don't pay me for it.
So that one we're gonna have to
Still
repair again,
repair.
it didn't cost us anything, but it still needs to be repaired.
Right.
So I don't have a problem if you wanna, my feeling is.
Whatever you wanna do, I
yeah.
mean, I wouldn't have a problem to take 4 or 5 culverts, split it up with 2 guys. But if you don't think you can have contractors that are willing to do that, then we don't have
It
to.
just
do
makes
it.
me feel,
And I equally do not care if you wanna give all 5 of them to one person. It doesn't
The
matter.
only thing is, I can tell you right now, if you got 5 culverts and you hit 5 culverts to one person, it's gonna be over 10 grand.
Yeah, if you put that all together,
That's the
he's
bid.
absolutely right.
That's a good point.
right.
So either way, you're basically bidding them.
Well, how many, we got culverts until the ground freezes? Is that really about how long you can do them?
We got culverts until we can put the hot top over them to cover 'em.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, we can do culverts up till the day before the hot top plant's gonna close.
Okay, so we
Or-
may have until,
That's really the theory, right?
you could easily work until mid-November.
You can do them, but you've gotta get them compacted.
Yes, but I mean, as far as the time frame to replace them, we
Yeah.
need the hot top plant running, cause we gotta be able to hot top them.
And that's another example. Knowing the tools that they have is, for, I think, from my perspective anyway, is important.
That the contractors have.
Correct.
Yeah, well, what's your list
Do
of your
you have a
toolbox?
10-ton vibratory roller?
Right.
No, I don't. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You probably don't think
Thanks
they're
so
that
much.
important.
Right.
Even putting in a culvert, a
Right.
10-ton vibratory roller would be a big help, I would think.
They have the hand ones too.
They do, but they're not gonna reach 6 inches. And if you're
When you
gonna
do a
deep
culvert,
culvert,
you do a culvert, you're gonna use the hand, you're not gonna do a vibratory roll in a culvert.
Right.
I guess it would depend how big it was, wouldn't it?
No, you ain't getting it in there.
No,
Yeah,
you're not
that's
getting
true.
in
How
the
do you get-
trench, but that last foot of gravel that you
They
bring
won't,
up.
no, they do it all with a hand one.
They would?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
He did my little garage floor with a 10-ton roller.
yeah, but that's a fairly big area. When you're talking culvert, you're only talking, it's 10 feet wide at the top, but it's like this.
Right,
So, yeah, they do that all with hand ones.
but if I had a project that needed one, I'd want a contractor that had one.
Right,
Definitely.
right.
And especially what I've already learned of the cost of what we're not talking $1 million piece of equipment. I mean, this should be readily available for any contractor to need one, so.
So with regard to this project, what other information do you need from us? I guess, do we need to make a motion to not pave
Yes.
that road?
Yes, because there is a standing motion that says you
Okay.
will pave.
So I make a motion that we not pave the 800 feet from Hartford Lane headed towards the French's Mills Road that was raised. And we hold that off till next year.
Second.
Unanimous.
Well, actually, should you reword that? Because the motion was to pave all the way to the French's Mills Road, right?
The original motion was to,
Pave to the
we
French's
should have
Mills
paved
Road.
to the, bind.
Bind the 800, then shim and pave to French's Mills, right? Right?
The original motion,
The original, what our plan was to
that
do
you were
was.
gonna do 2,200 on French's Mills and 3,300.
Correct, we was gonna go to French's Mills.
Now we're not,
We're not
doing
even doing
anything
any
between
of that.
Newville and
You
Hartford
just,
Lane.
your motion should be to eliminate
The.
French's Mills
paving.
Road to Hartford Lane paving
Correct.
project. No paving.
paving, no paving on French's Mills.
Yeah.
Or
No.
remove that. You're gonna find out if we can shim it over there. That's because of the weight of the
Okay.
trucks.
So we are not paving
Silver's Mills.
Silver's Mills.
Right,
Between French's Mills Road and Hartford Lane.
right.
That's gone.
Yes, because we got the dirt that's not ready, we got the rock. To me personally, I don't see the sense in going down from the rock, setting
No,
up
no,
and
no.
shim and pave
No, no,
from
no,
there up.
No.
Because,
The rock could be massive.
well, not only that, but at the end of the day, next year Pike is gonna go right back down and pave this little piece in the middle. If you know you're gonna pave this next year, why not wait and just,
Right.
we could
So-
shim, I don't see where that's an issue, but that's a Pike call. If Pike thinks we could shim from, I believe that rock, if you stand in the Newt Farm driveway, looking at the road, it's to the left. It's right, it's
The
right
rock?
near, yeah.
I know where the rock
Okay,
is.
but what I'm saying is from, basically from the Newt's driveway for the barn, if we could start shimming from there,
All the way to.
So that's,
Do you mean the end of the Eastler Road?
nope.
No.
Barn,
The lower one where the geese hang out?
yep, at the
Okay,
old dairy
all
barn
right.
itself.
That's where the rock is?
Yeah, the rock is right,
Yeah.
I can't remember which side of the driveway. It's
Down near
right-
the pond.
it's
Yeah.
closer towards,
It's
if you're.
more to the left, I
If
believe.
Hartford Lane is behind you, it is to the left of the yellow line.
Yeah. So I believe, I'm just trying to think of a spot in the road sitting here that we all know of where we could start. I believe you could safely start right there.
Yeah, didn't we do a culvert there
Yeah.
above it? Did
Well,
we
we
do
do
a
have
culvert?
2 culverts
We got a cross culverts we're gonna have to pay.
that we're gonna have to.
Right, so
try
maybe we pick up, you know, the first culvert above the rock and start there.
We could do that too. That would
And
be,
then those
yep.
culverts are capped.
Just trying to figure out a landmark that we all know of, that's all
Yep.
I was trying to do. It'd be easier to go out and actually say where the rock is.
Yeah, I'll go home that way. I didn't know where the rock was, but.
There's 2 of them down, you can see where, there's
They
2 of them that were
replaced
marked.
one.
One of them is cut out
One
nice.
they took out?
Yeah, and then there's the other one,
So that's, you know, the first culvert north of the rock
yeah.
is where we'll, as long as Pike doesn't squawk about traffic on that shim, and I can't imagine they're going to. I mean, they don't say to us, be careful the first 24 hours.
Well, then my only thing is, I mean, I definitely have, I wanna find out what they feel about that, but at the same time, there's a lot of towns, that's all they're doing.
Yeah,
You know, they can't afford to shim and pave and top coat, you
Right.
know, and personally, I'd rather see 3 miles of shim done, to make 3 miles of road way better than shim and pave a little bit.
to an extent. It's
Yeah,
not gonna
I mean,
hold up.
eventually you gotta get it
You
done.
gotta
Yeah,
get some
right.
pavement down there, or just your road falls apart.
Yeah.
But I do think that would be a nice, if we finish it up next year, this is not a bad incremental step.
No, and it's money well spent, and it's gonna be spent in a positive to make it better ahead.
I hope it is. I mean, it might, this is where it bothers me to not have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody like Phil might say, you know what, you shim that, by next spring, it's all gonna be busted up because you didn't do it, you know, I don't know. And
Talking to the paving guys, they say a lot of towns, they're shimming 1 year and going back.
I see that a lot,
I've seen a lot of towns that have shim, and I've seen 2, 3, 4 years later.
they're shimming again.
Still, they're just shim. It's the same, they never did nothing.
I
You
know.
their idea of shim and
That's it.
pave is shim, 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 shim. So,
Shim,
I mean,
shimmy. No, and I get that, I mean, nobody has any money, and it's,
it's not the way that I wanna move it forward, so
Right.
it just makes me more confident thinking that we can shim 1 year.
And
shim
hit it the next year, yeah.
And right, and
Yep.
finish it next year.
So do we want a motion for, in the event
Yep,
that Pike says truck traffic is not going to be an issue on Shim, then we wanna start at the first culvert north of the rock until our budget runs out.
yep, subtract out,
leaving enough to do the 5 or more culverts that you talked
Yes.
about.
yep, and the overlay.
And a little slush. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Right,
know,
right,
yeah.
we'll do French's Mills first, and then there's a few culverts that need,
Yep, get all of that done, get the overlay culverts that we have to get done, plan on that, and then just know that you got 5 culverts that are gonna cost you X amount, we're gonna have to pave over them, that's gonna be a dollar value, and then,
You should be able to
rest-
say to Mr. Pike, I've got this much money in shim, and he'll go until you run out of money. He
what
should
I,
be able to-
honestly, and I wouldn't even, if you wanna be safe about it, if you know you've got 50,000 left, or 60,000 left to give for shim, if you wanna tell him, hey, I got 60, but I really only wanna spend 50, cause I wanna be safe, then go ahead. If we've got $10,000-15,000 after this, there's $10,000 or $15,000 worth of ditching that could be done somewhere.
Yep.
Or we've got other culverts somewhere else that we could do.
That still is a pretty good use of this year's money. Last
Yeah.
year, we had a lot more than that.
30,000.
left Unspent.
I
so-
believe it's been 30 to 40,000 the last 2 years.
In,
Public
we
Works.
did spend.
Yeah,
Right,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that
All
to
kinds of
happen.
money.
No, I really don't want that to happen.
but I mean, I don't see where we can't, even in November when the hot tops, you can't hot top anymore. We've got ditching could be doing,
Yep.
or we got gravel roads that we could put gravel down on. I mean, we could spend that money.
Yeah, in fact, some of them could use a final grading.
That would be,
So if we had 10 grand laying around, we could put it to work.
yep, but
As long as the road isn't frozen.
I think we're all in agreement that
Yep,
the bottom line number is 0, but I don't wanna go backwards, so.
yep.
alright, so I have a motion for that?
Yes. Did you write it down?
Yes. It says, depending on what Pike says about truck traffic, start the shim at the first culvert north of the rock until the budget runs out, or give him a budget dollar, making sure we keep enough for the 5 culverts. And do that on Silver's Nose.
That's our motion.
Yep.
Second.
All in favor? Are there any other moving parts?
Okay, how far do you expect to shim?
We will shim as far, we have more capacity, more area to shim than we have money to shim. We will shim as far as we
Okay.
can.
But before you shim, you gotta have there's several, culverts who have to be replaced.
Yeah, 4 or 5 of them, right? 4 or
I think
5?
so, clear through.
What we're gonna do is,
1.2 miles, whatever it is.
Yeah.
yep, we're gonna mark all those out, and
Yeah.
Mr. Pike is
Oh,
gonna know.
no, get Butch on that, he likes to.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he can actually,
We
Well,
will
that
let
is-
him.
hey, we
So-
need to make a motion for that?
Yeah. We
So-
are giving him authority.
We
Okay,
will
okay.
mark
Believe it's-
those culverts that are gonna be done.
Yeah, okay.
So I would think if Pike knows that these culverts we're gonna do, when they're shimming, can't they shim up to that, stop, go over it, and keep shimming? And then we can do, cause they're paving next week. There's no way we're getting culverts done before next week.
That's a question for Lois to ask.
That is a question. I mean, if you can get a hold of contractors, get them in there Monday.
But
I
you're
don't
also
believe that's
talking
gonna
Today's
about
Friday.
3 feet
Yeah.
of shim.
Yeah, and I've got to pick my grandkids up.
What's that?
You're talking about, there would be 3 feet of shim. I mean, we're gonna take those culverts out, and then someone's gonna come back.
Yeah, it'd be 12 feet. It should be 12 to 16 feet.
By the time you get to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
You
that's
don't,
the
you don't wanna do
theory,
that
right?
times
With
5.
With the V, I mean, your culvert is 2 feet, but by the time you
It's
take
10
that
feet.
out, so if it does heave, the whole thing heaves, and you don't get that bump like what we get now.
Yeah, we have lots. So, yeah, I don't know that it's as easy as we think it is to just turn the spigot
I
on.
don't know either, but that's a pipe. I'm sure that he can,
He can answer the question.
I'm sure he may end up shimming in a little bit where we know we're gonna cut it out, but.
Yeah, but if you do that, you're
Oh.
gonna leave the noose gonna be all upset because they're gonna have to plow, the plow, if the plow up, they.
Oh.
No, we're gonna, no.
Any culverts that we take out are going to be trench paved before the snow flies.
Yeah, but if you shimmed up to that, then you gotta, to re-shim it, the part that you didn't shim, flat across. Now, you've also got a culvert area, it's a good one. It's a culvert, it's a steel pipe, it's short. The
Yep.
banks are like this and the culvert is.
Right,
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So you've either gotta haul it out, because you can't, I put on a piece on the end because it's a real thick wall.
Yeah.
We get any more of that pipe?
Too big, so you got to do something there. It's right beyond.
I know right where it is. Could we weld a piece
Oh,
onto
you
it?
do, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
dump right there.
yeah. Could we weld a piece on the end of it? Weld a piece of pipe? Weld a piece of pipe on it?
You can do anything if you got the time,
And the
And
money.
the money.
And
rather
money.
than the money.
But there is a piece of pipe we're gonna cut off over there at the farm. I don't know if that's the same material.
It's not-
No, not the same
No.
stuff.
No,
This is an old pipe.
This is a pipe.
Oh, this is,
It's a pipe. It's not a culvert.
What did the state put it in? or
Oh,
something?
it's a steel pipe, and
Oh.
it's fairly thick wall.
Wow.
If you could get culverts like that, you'd never have a conversation about culverts.
you would have to bury it.
100 years.
They'd last longer than none of us are ever gonna be.
Okay, so this is not an easy, you'd have to find the right material to weld on.
We
And you
just
gotta get a welder in that ditch.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
not
that's
big a
gonna
deal.
cost.
it's probably
Yeah, so I
cheaper to
mean-
dig it up and put in a new culvert.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I
do you
don't- I
really
mean,
think there's enough
you
water
can do
flow
it.
there that it's going
Well,
to
you just need the pipe then.
be a
You
problem?
could do it. No problem.
Not that big of a deal.
Well, you need somebody to hold that pipe on there.
I can do that.
Where there is an old culvert, usually they have it all, I figured out, they got them on top, but they can't let it go too far to run. because
the biggest
that's a lot.
challenge is the
So
pipe.
you've gotta dive it off and.
But I don't think it's that,
Go drop in the field.
Is it a shame?
I think we could
Is
look
it a
at it.
shame to take it out?
Don't,
Because
yeah,
it's so
take it out
good.
and
if we just,
I'll fill it over.
we reset it last year. If
Oh,
we could
yeah.
easily find something to tack on the end of that, I don't think it's that bad of a job.
No, I
I'll go
think
with
that
that.
one's okay.
I mean,
Well,
cause
yeah,
realistic,
it
it's,
sounds like
it's past the road width. The problem is when they put it down and when you go lower,
Sure.
Right.
You gotta, yeah.
but I mean,
Bigger
if you move the
base.
riprap, you can get to that culvert. So,
Maybe just rip wrap it.
I think you'd have to add a piece of pipe to it, but you're not talking, you'd only have to add a short piece
But on both sides.
on both sides, but if you move the riprap, the culvert's right there, you can put a pipe on it.
But the danger is you pave the road and you find out that you can't fix it and you gotta pull the culvert out.
Correct, you need to make sure you can do
Fix
that
it.
before.
So you need a welder.
It's not a fancy well though, I mean,
No.
if it leaks a
Doesn't have
little
to be
bit.
pretty.
Yeah,
I got a MIG, if I had a generator, I could plug my MIG welder in, it would do that in about 10 minutes.
Well, that Richard Williams over here on the
Willie
Williams
Williams.
Welding,
Warren Newt's got a portable, like, probably we could go get that.
but we need pipe. We
The
need a,
pipe is the question, don't know if we may have something, we've taken a lot of pipes.
How big is that? How big is that culvert, the diameter?
is a 12-inch?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That one?
12, 15
Oh,
inch.
ooh, wow.
It's
yeah, but it's
fine.
something you could hang off a piece of a backhoe. It's not, you don't need a huge piece of
There's
equipment to hang
riprap,
off
no,
a
no,
piece,
no.
Yeah,
You
you
could
could
put a rock
support
down.
it.
Well,
just to get it married up.
it ain't gotta be pretty. I mean,
Wow.
it really don't.
Right, you just gotta dump water
I
out.
don't know.
Or is it picking
No, I
water
think
up?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
It's gonna,
It's not very
from the
big.
left side, I mean, in the spring maybe, you got the inlet's on one side that's short, the outlet is short.
12
It
inch.
didn't even go one way or the other, it's short on both ends.
Oh.
Cause it get clogged up with leaves and crap and all that,
Yeah.
awful quick.
You may even be able to take a piece of culvert, regular culvert, I don't know, if the diameter's right, you might be able to clamp onto it. You may be able to take a short section of culvert that we already got, move the riprap, clamp it on there, and be good.
It'd be better. I mean, better than it is.
I mean, I haven't measured the pipe, I don't know if it's the right diameter so it would match up, but if that's a 12-inch pipe and a 12-inch culvert was the same, you're only talking this much distance.
Where is it?
It's, right before Uncle Willie's.
Okay.
It's right on that crest.
After we put the new one in that sticks out in Willie's field.
Yeah, then come back towards my house.
So
And
the
it's the
pieces that
next
we
one.
cut
I
off,
believe
we
it's
could
next
put down
one.
the next
I'll
one.
stop and look at it on the way home.
Yeah.
Along
And then
with
the
rock.
next one is the one that's crushed in the middle.
Yep, the next one's crushed in the
It's
middle.
the plastic one
Plastic,
that's
it's been
crushed
in a
in the
year.
middle.
Yeah, I know, what you showed me that one.
1-year-old plastic crush, that needs to be replaced. The one down by Brockway Mills, that's a 5-year-old plastic that needs to be replaced.
I see a trend.
Replacement?
No, plastic.
He's just trying to poison your mind.
Just depends on how they're installed.
Okay,
good.
so, are we,
Are we okay? I mean, we have a plan. We good?
Yeah.
We're all on the same page, same book, same chapter.
And
Yeah, if Pike comes back and says you shouldn't do that, then you know what? I guess we're gonna do a lot of work on gravel roads for the rest of the year.
I would say you're right.
I mean, there's another road that needs, I mean, I'm sure there's other paved roads that need work, but I mean, the McFeeters Road is really bad, but I mean, that's a
But we haven't done any work
whole
yet.
nother-
Correct,
Right.
that's a whole
Okay.
nother
You
area.
need
Okay.
culverts and
But
ditching
that,
and,
but that doesn't mean, if we can't shim over there,
we couldn't hit that.
we can't go over to McFeeters Road and start looking at culverts over there, because we know once Silver's Mills is done, as far as I'm concerned, I think McFeeters Road is the second worst road in the town of Sangerville. So,
It is so bad.
yes, so if we can't shim
that
on
a mile?
Silver's,
A mile? It's probably more than a mile.
yeah, 'cause it's a mile and a half,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. And Parkman turned theirs back into dirt.
Dirt.
No kidding.
Yeah.
They ground up the pavement and gave it up.
We're done with it.
Yep.
No, you don't have to do this for very long before you see the value in getting your roads ahead.
Prepared.
I know
Yeah.
everybody likes to
I
put down
would-
paving, but
Right.
culverts and
I-
ditching,
Oh, yeah.
it's great to have it in the bank.
Sat-
yeah, yeah.
I sat in budget committee 2 years and listened to everybody, how much money was spent on paving and great it was. In both years, the comment I had was, we did a really good job at painting our roads black.
Yeah.
That's,
There you go.
that was, if we just pave,
Yeah.
there is, the section up above my house that they did 11 years ago, there is places up by your house that's got probably 7 inches of shim in it. I mean, that was rutted, and that's all they did.
Well, that was something that Pike said to me yesterday when we were riding from your house down. He said, you really should reclaim this section. But we know that Phil's not a fan of reclaiming.
See,
Well, you gotta have
I'm not
enough
either.
pavement. You gotta have enough pavement.
Enough
See, now, like,
pavement and enough
Down on
underneath.
that flat by where Urban's house is, down in that section, there's definitely enough, I know there's enough shim in there that you probably could reclaim it, but only in that section. If you get down onto my end, the Anderson Road, that used to have, right in the center of that triangle, there used to be a flower section. And the camp roads had a big post in there, so you had to drive around it. Well, the
Good
first
point.
year of Newt's plowing contract, that didn't work out so well for him. So the signs disappeared, that was the agreement in the spring, to dig all of that out and replace the gravel and stuff like that, and move the signs over onto the lawn. And, at the time, I had a 580 backhoe, so I went down and helped, and we dug that whole section, the end of that Anderson Road out 4 feet, and put in all good gravel again. And I was digging right clean off the edge of that hot top, and there's no gravel underneath that road. And there was only that much hot top underneath that road. So if you reclaim that section, it ain't
It's
gonna
not-
be good.
Yeah.
So we've got the way we pave, we've got 50 more years of repaving
Before you can reclaim it.
before I would even think about reclaiming it. So,
Half an inchy,
Half
half
an
an
inch
inch every
here.
10 years.
we get to 12 inches. We could do that, but
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay,
I think that's.
can we, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
We're off the clock.
okay.